So in this video we're going to take you through a year at the chateau from beginning to end and all the jobs in between. And it's been quite the journey, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean there's been some highs and there's been some lows. Certainly been a bit of a roller coaster, but we've made loads of progress and yeah, we're going to just like whistle through all of that in a crazy montage. So if you like this video, click the little thumbs up button. And if you want to see all of our videos and get little notifications when we drop new videos, click the subscribe button. Anyway, hope you enjoy it and yeah, see you in the next video.
Enjoy!
When we first found Château Trois Cloches, it was love at first sight. There was the bell tower, the Orangery, the whole place was just so romantic, but it took a long time to complete the purchase. But eventually we were able to drive over to France. We headed to Honfleur, which is a really beautiful town nearby, and then in the hotel we logged into a video conference where we were able to complete the formalities and become owners of our very own chateau. And then the next day we picked up the keys. So we've just picked up the keys from the estate agent and literally we're just about to check out the chateau. We've only seen this for like 3 times, but this is the first time we get to go in. There's Châtelain. And she said it was Châtelain.
Wow. It is bigger and more overwhelming than I remember it.
We've got a lot of work to do.
We do.
In the first nights, we slept on the floor in what had been a dressing room, but then we very quickly got on with some of the urgent jobs that needed doing within the chateau, such as getting rid of an infestation of woodworm. So this is the Orangery, and it's one of my favourite places in Château Trois Cloches. I just think it's the most incredible space. You've got this beautiful grapevine here, which must have been growing for so many years. But I just think it's such a cool space and so unique. And I just think this is going to be the most amazing event space for doing kind of hosting parties and yeah, just generally kind of bringing people. Anyway, we're going to check out the lounge now. Sounds like Chris has got some music on in here. Having a little dance, are we? It was only a few days before we started filming with Chateau DIY, and our first job was transforming a dark and dingy room into a sumptuous and luxury boudoir. It didn't take long before we found a passion for French brocantes, where we found loads of amazing pieces of furniture that we could use around the chateau. Next up was decorating the main bedroom of the chateau, which had so much potential but was also quite tricky due to the lack of wall space to put furniture or a bed up against. Having made loads of great progress inside, our attention turned to the outside, where we started work planning and eventually digging what we hope will become an amazing natural pool. But this was to become a pretty epic project. We soon realised that because we were building the pool in clay, due to something called hydrostatic pressures, there was going to be loads more pressure on the walls than we planned, and as a result we had to double the thickness of the foundations, double up the walls, and what was going to be a job we were hoping to finish in a couple of months was going to take well over a year. Sadly, the weather started to turn and it made working in the pool really, really difficult. But eventually we managed to start raising the walls and getting them high enough so that the clay wasn't falling into the pool constantly. We had loads of family coming to stay for Christmas, and so we had some really fun plans. First of all, we converted a storeroom into a Santa's grotto because Chris's niece and nephew hadn't met Santa before, and it was an opportunity to surprise them.
Despite all of our success in the brocante, we couldn't find a table big enough for 16 guests, so between Jolien and I, we designed one and he made one out of old scaffolding boards we found in the stable, so it's basically free.
While I was having fun making the table outside, Chris and a good friend of ours, Nuala, painted the Orangery floor inside. Before it was an ugly brown and they painted it white but with black spots, and when it was finished it was such an incredible transformation. We also installed this beautiful chandelier we found from the lighting company, which tops the space perfectly. The highlight, though, of the whole Christmas was when we revealed behind the secret door Santa's grotto, and Charlie and Isla got to meet Father Christmas firsthand. They were completely starstruck, and it was just such a beautiful moment. Everyone then sat down for Christmas dinner, and we were finally able to relax, and it was such a wonderful evening. Next up, we realised we had to pivot again to look after the stable roof, which was in a really bad condition. We'd been looking at it more closely and realised that if we didn't sort it out this winter, damage to the wood might have meant that what would have been a manageable project could have just turned into a really, really difficult job. So with the help of some of Chris's friends and his nephew, we were able to completely re-roof the stables in just a few weeks.
Like every job, it typically takes twice as long as you expect, and it's something we've come to learn.
And we had to make countless visits to the bricolage to get more supplies. We also transformed the dressing room that we stayed in on our very first night. Well, I say we, it was mostly Chris really, but that was the room that we stayed in that was basically a dressing room before, and on our first night in the chateau we slept on the floor. Chris painted the room with Mylands Fitzrovia paint, which is a soft cream but with just a hint of pink, and when it had dried the finished result was just dreamy. For this job, as with many others, we made great use of the local brocantes and got some fantastic purchases, including the headboard for the bed and some beautiful side tables which Chris upcycled with a bit of chalk paint.
It was a little bit more than just chalk paint, thank you very much.
We also renovated a room which was originally the source of a lot of the problems we had when we first bought the chateau. We had dry rot in this particular room and fixing it was a huge challenge. The specialist team had to come in, strip off all of the plaster, and then they had to burn the walls before treating it and removing loads of the wood from that particular part of the property.
It took months and months of work to get here, but now we have a beautiful room which is perfect for kids or adults alike, and we love it.
Even though it was quite hard work with things like the cornicing, it's actually probably one of my favourite rooms in the chateau. It's just really cosy and got a nice homely feel to it.